Hey, it's Ryan from All Forest Foods. In today's video I'm going to teach you how to make a very strong yang tonic tea. Now, as you know, we're in the middle of winter right now. A lot of people start to have a diminishing yang energy that might manifest itself and feeling a little sluggish during these winter months. Now, of course, some sluggishness is going to be expected during the winter time, and that sluggishness needs to be respected. You might feel a little bit more tired, you might be going to bed earlier and waking up later than you would in summertime. These are normal things. But if it starts to impede with your life a little bit too much, if you really feel drained during these winter months, something like this particular yang brew is going to refuel a lot of that energy that you're missing. This video is going to take part in 2 different sessions, although we're going to edit this to make it look like just one video. The reason why is you need to let these herbs sit for about an hour in the water before you bring them over heat. The different herbs that you're going to have to compile to make this specific recipe are widely available, but depending on where you live in the country, you might have to order some of these off the internet. Although more and more you can get loose herbs locally, which is fantastic. Let me just tell you what we got here. We have some sarsaparilla. We have some orange peel. Of course, you can just peel an orange and let the orange dry if it's organic. We have some licorice. Now, I know some of you are afraid of licorice. Don't be afraid of licorice. You don't want to make your diet 100% licorice, of course. You don't want to make your diet 100% of anything. Don't be afraid of licorice. It's a very important herb. We have a big old bag of Chinese red ginseng. Then we have cinnamon bark. You can use powdered cinnamon if that's what you have. We have both at the house. I like the bark for some things. I like the powdered cinnamon for other things. Then we've got powdered ginger. Feel free to use fresh ginger. We have marshmallow. And we have sassafras. Of course, sarsaparilla and sassafras are different. Some of these herbs are just going to be 1 part. Some of these herbs are going to be 2 part. The ones that are 1 part we're going to do first, and we're going to use 1 teaspoon of each. So, we've got the sarsaparilla right here. We're going to do just 1 teaspoon of that. Very simple. And then we're going to do 1 teaspoon of the Panax ginseng. If you're feeling that you're a little bit yang depleted, a lot of Americans, when they are feeling very run down, they're not actually low in yang energy, they're actually yang excess, and that leads to a diminished feelings of yang energy. If you're yang excess, you want to stay away from Chinese ginseng 100% of the time and focus on more yin herbs. If that's the case, supplement the Chinese ginseng in this recipe with American ginseng, and then also throw in a handful of goji berries. We're going to add 1 part of licorice root. Remember, don't be afraid of licorice. So one teaspoon of that. And then what would be the equivalent of 1 teaspoon of these orange rinds. Of course, these aren't really going to fit in the teaspoon, so I'm just gonna estimate here what 1 teaspoon would be. And then for the 2-part herbs, so we have 1 part herbs over here. That's the Chinese ginseng, the orange peel, the sarsaparilla, and the licorice. 2-part herbs over on this side. And we've got the cinnamon bark. Of course, as you can see, you're not going to be able to get this into the teaspoon either, so I'm just going to estimate that. We've got our powdered ginger right here. We're going to throw in 2 big old teaspoons of that. Of course, you can make this tea with nothing but powdered ginger, and you're going to have a very great tasting tea. You're going to have a very strong yang tonic. The sassafras. Now, as you know, the sassafras and sarsaparilla are classic root beer ingredients. They're also very important herbs for male reproductive health. 2 teaspoons of sassafras. And then we're going to do 2 teaspoons of the marshmallow. Marshmallow Could be an herb that you don't commonly use. It is a good herb for male reproductive health. If you were to make a list of, let's say, 20 of the top herbs in the world for male health, male reproductive health, marshmallow is going to be in the top 10 of them. So we've got our 2-part herbs in here now, we've got our 1-part herbs in here now. We're just going to throw some water on this and then let it sit for 1 hour. If you're in a rush, if this is before work in the morning, just throw the water in there, put it over heat, turn it up to 10, let it come up to a boil, and then turn it down to a simmer, and just give it a few minutes, because some of these herbs, like the cinnamon, the sassafras, sarsaparilla, those are very woody herbs that you're going to need to do a decoction of. But letting them soak in the water for an hour is going to do a little bit of that decocting for you. I've got a quart pot right here, so I'm going to add 3/4 of a quart of water to that, because we don't want it to boil over. I'm going to have to keep an eye on this anyway because it's so full. So let's just throw the lid on that, put it on the stove. Notice that I'm doing that in a glass pot. I've also got a ceramic pot here just to show you. I've mentioned this in other videos and a blog post. It's real important whenever you're cooking any types of herbs in a pot, you do not want to use stainless steel, aluminum, something with Teflon. You want to use either glass or ceramic. That's because those herbs can start to interact with those other materials. It can actually leach toxins out of those materials into your tea, so you end up doing a little bit of damage. Both the ceramic and the glass pots are easy to find though. If you have a Chinese market, you can pick these up for about 10 bucks. Glass pots you can find anywhere. Find them at the secondhand store. They're going to cost you $1 and you'll use them every single day. So we've got the herbs in the water sitting for 1 hour, and then we're going to revisit this and then heat it up and drink it. Alright, well, welcome back. It's been an hour. I've been letting the herbs sit, doing a cold decoction, and we can just put some fire under them right now. Of course, because we did a cold decoction, we don't have to fully decoct the sarsaparilla, sassafras, and cinnamon like you normally would. We're just going to go ahead and bring these up to a boil, turn them down, let it cool, and drink it. While this is happening, we can just go over these herbs again. We're doing the Chinese ginseng, a strong yang tonic. If you're feeling a little yang excess, if your winter depletion you think is because of a too active of a lifestyle, again, you want to substitute that Chinese ginseng with an American ginseng. Stay away from the Panax if you're yang excess. You can also throw some goji berries in there. I was looking up here because usually we've got some goji berries up there. Throw a handful of goji berries in there. Goji berries are great for the male spirit. They're also a very strong yin tonic. They're going to give you that nutritive energy that you need to balance your yang energy. But something like licorice is a very strong adrenal tonic. It's a very strong adrenal restorative. Now when you have healthy adrenals, you're going to have a better balance of testosterone to estrogen. So while it might have some characteristics that are estrogenizing, the predominant characteristics are going to be balancing towards your system, so you don't have to worry about it. That's really it. This is going to come up to a boil. Then we're just going to strain it and drink it. One thing that I didn't mention about this tea that you might want to know is that it's absolutely delicious. The combination of the ginger, the Chinese ginseng, the orange, the sassafras, the sarsaparilla, the licorice, the marshmallow even. They're all very delicious herbs. So not only is this a very strong tonic for these winter months, it's also absolutely delicious. The one thing that you want to be sure about is not to drink too much of this. Now I made about 3/4 of a quart. After boiling that for a minute, it's going to be a little bit less than that. We're going to strain it. I'd actually say that's probably 2 days worth of tea. You can just store this in the fridge for 1 day and heat it up again tomorrow. You don't want to have too many yang herbs in your diet, especially being Americans, where we're all kind of in yang excess anyway. This only does have 1 teaspoon of ginseng in it, but you want to be mindful of how much yang energy you're putting into your body. You always want to balance that. Alright, well this has come up to a boil and I've turned it down. Like I was saying, keep an eye on this so it doesn't boil over. When you're doing loose teas like this, when you're heating them up, they do have a tendency to boil over, much different than just heating up a pot of water. So keep an eye on that. Now this is a very strong, like I mentioned, this is a very strong tonic. It's very restorative to your yang energy, which tends to diminish during the winter months. You do want to respect the change of seasons. You do want to respect the change in energy that you're going to have during those seasons. Winter is going to be a quieter time of the year than summer is. But if you're finding yourself too depleted, a lot more so than you would normally think that you should be, supplement with something like this. This is a strong yang tonic. You do not want to push your yang energy too much because then you're going to become very excess. When you're making a pot like this, you might think of using this over 2 days or morning and night. This could be very stimulating for some people, so you wouldn't want to drink it right before bed, but at 5 p.m., at 6 p.m., you would be safe using this. So go ahead and just let this simmer for a minute and then strain it however you want to strain it. If you want to strain it right into a cup, if you want to strain it into a teapot, do it that way. I encourage you to follow this recipe. It's a very potent tonic. It's also very delicious. The herbs are worth gathering. Some of these are culinary herbs, so you're going to be able to find them no problem. Other ones, they might take some searching, but I encourage you, locate these herbs, make this tea. It's awesome, it's nutritive, it's energizing, it's delicious. You can't go wrong. Now, over 2012, we're going to be coming out with a few more videos right now in the new year, so stay tuned. Most importantly, have a great winter. Have a great New Year's. Thanks for watching. Make this tea. Stop what you're doing. Find these herbs and make this tea. It's amazing. Thank you.